Mm.
All right, I think we are now live on Facebook. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in even tonight, and welcome to another edition of Simply Speaking. We are still being homeschooled by the virus, and tonight we have a raw and uncensored conversation with survivors of the COVID-19, from discovery and all the way to their recovery. Please make sure that you share the link with your people, and also you join us in all other platforms while we're screening tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, before I go any further, please make sure that you also leave your comments and your questions in the comment section below this video for our survivors. We'll let them introduce themselves to us, let us know who they are and when roughly they got tested and they received their results, and then we will take it from there. I will give it to Chloe to start. Good evening, Chloe.
Good evening, Linda. Good evening, viewers at home. I'm Chloe Littler, and I had corona. I got tested. I got tested on the 11th of July, and I got my results on the 16th, if I'm not mistaken, on the 16th of July. Yeah, and then yeah, basically that's.
But you are well now.
I
well,
feel
as
fine.
well as you can be.
Yes, I feel perfectly fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Rose.
Thank you for having me.
Good evening, Lindo. Good evening to the listeners. Good evening to my co-survivors. I was admitted on the 5th of July, tested on that day, got my results on the 9th of July, and that's where I can leave it for now.
Thank you very much, and welcome, Mr. Rose. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Mr. Tabeze, good evening.
Good evening, Lindo. Good evening to my co-survivors and any other survivor, of course, that is watching the show. As introduced, my name is Zama Tabete. Many of you know me as an employee of the Sport and Recreation Council. I got tested on the 30th on a Friday. I woke up feeling a bit shaky. I normally have flu around about this time of the year. So I decided to act on it. I went to see my doctor, diagnosed flu, and then obviously said it was mandatory that I test for COVID because I was showing flu symptoms. Yeah. Told me I'd get my results in 7 days, but surprisingly mine came quick because 4 days later, on the 30th, I received the shock of my life. That's what I would call it, because it was a shock. I received it on the 30th of June. And here I am, spent 10, 14 days in safe isolation and under medication, and I'm well now, fit as a fiddle.
We're good to hear that. So thank you very much for joining us. And last but definitely by no means least, good evening, Ms. Melane.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, my co-survivors. Good evening, Lindo. My name is Zandile Melane. I tested for COVID-19 on the 30th. I had to go back and take the on the 1st of June. And this was after a very short, different illness related to flu. And I got my results on the 4th of June. Then led myself into self-isolation.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for being here with us tonight and allowing us to share your story with everyone that is watching tonight. And hopefully people will get encouraged from your stories, either to go get tested or to actually try to live a positive and life with regards to keeping safe and keeping adhering to all the WHO and the government regulations. Just to start with you, Zama, you mentioned the fact that you're working for a sports and recreation. And the assumption is you should be fit as a fiddle, and once you get the flu, basically it should just bounce off you, because
Yeah.
hey, in other words. But now here you are going to your doctor because you have the flu, which is it's winter, and it's people are do get the flu in winter, basically, But now you're going in to get your flu shots, or you'll get treatment for flu, but then you get tested because and then once you get your results, you get the shock of your life, which is you're positive. Then what's the next step for you there? How do you take it? What's the procedure? Are you taken in? Are you going back home? Because we've had a lot of stories around what happens in terms of people that are positive, but we want to get now the first-hand information from all of you guys in terms of when you get tested, from the moment that you get tested to the moment that you get your treatment, let me put it that way. What was the procedure, and can you just break it down for us?
Okay. Yeah, it was a shock. I just knocked off from work and was driving home, and I received the call. They had told me that they were going to call me and inform me of my results, and if I tested negative, I was going to get an SMS. So I was expecting the SMS, but got the call. And the thing with our smartphones now is that we all have Truecaller, and it tells you. And when it showed on my Truecaller who was calling, I knew this was it, and sort of prepared myself for the voice that was coming. So they told me, yes, I was positive, and I don't know. I was driving home with my wife. She tells me the story that I completely changed. I was completely silent for about 20 to 25 kilometers.
Sure.
I was silent. And I
now you're driving with your car, with your wife, sorry.
Yes,
in the car.
yes. After those 20 to 25 kilometers, then I say, oh, I've tested positive. Then that's it. So I immediately again call my boss, tell him, hey, I've just been diagnosed with corona, just received my results, which is the right thing to do. Call my boss, and yeah, it was that Tuesday evening, and I got home and I just locked myself in my room and reflected, did some self-introspection, and amongst the many things that came to my head was a life lived so short. At only 41. At only 41, I turned 41 on the 15th of June. And here I am 15 days later with corona, and you all know that we've been told that you are dying. So here I am reflecting, thinking of all the 41 years I've spent, what I've done. But yeah, that
so
was
basically
it.
You're just already writing your obituary.
Already pen and paper somewhere in the head doing that.
Okay. And then treatment-wise, what happened?
Okay. The discussion when I received the call, obviously they said they would come and check on me. The checking on me was not really on checking on me. It was picking me. It was picking me up.
Oh, okay.
And immediately I think my response was, I would love to self-medicate at home. I do not want to be picked up. Well, the lady I was speaking to said she'd get back to me. She had to consult with her bosses, and she came back to me and told me, okay. Oh, in fact, I had said I'd drive myself. I do not want ambulances coming to my home and picking me up. So she was going to consult on me picking me up. And when she came back and she said, okay, yeah, the bosses have said you can drive yourself up, which is where I even actually got to know of my ID. They said, don't mention Zamatabes at the gate. Mention your own number.
Your
which
personal
was
ID.
Your 809, the patient number.
Oh.
Yes. So they said when you get to the gate at Mavu, so this is your ID. When you speak of Zama, it's a nobody. Just say you are patient 809 and you're checking in. So I'd already been discussing with my wife, and when she said it was okay for myself to drive in, I then said, hey, on second thought, can I self-isolate? And she said, yeah, it was possible, but then the doctors who would be coming to my place would make that assessment and make that decision. So yes, they came to me, I think 2 days later after I tested, I received those results on the Tuesday. On the Thursday, I think, yeah, they came to me, checked on me, gave me medication, made an assessment of my home. My father built houses, and I've built a house as well. So they were convinced that I'd have a house of my own where I'd stay and isolate myself. And I think my situation was not that critical in terms of the symptoms that I had. So they said, yeah, they gave me the green light to self-isolate and left me, and left me with the medication.
Oh, okay. All right. And then the visits, were they constant, or how were they structured in terms of, would they come to visit, or was it via the phone call in terms of checking up on you?
It was that visit. The next visit was a week later when they came to test me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tabese. Mr. Rose, what made you to go and get tested? Did you have any symptoms on your end, and what symptoms did you have?
Okay, what happened is on the 28th, which was a Sunday of June, I felt like I was catching flu. I went to the pharmacy for tablets, but I don't know what happened. I didn't even end up by taking those tablets. But on the Monday morning, on the 5th, on the Monday 29th, I got up, I went to see a private doctor in Manzini, Dr. Jonathan Lamini, and he diagnosed that I had bad flu. And he said I should go home and rest. And I was quite happy for that, because I was scared of actually COVID.
Yeah.
So I went home. He gave me 2 days, but on the 3rd day, I told my boss, hey, I'm not feeling well. And he also tried helping me with a few things. And I stayed home until the Sunday, when I have twins, my daughters, who decided they'd had enough of seeing me laying in bed, coughing, not coming right. And I have a 11-year-old son who was taking care of me in my house with his friend, who's also 10 years old. So it was just the 3 of us in the house, yeah. And they came on the Sunday, picked me up, took me to Kiwa. And I didn't even take clothes. I said, no, I'm coming back home. I don't want to go to hospital. I actually didn't want to go to hospital. So got to Kiwa, the doctor I met, they just said, listen, we're taking you in, you bad. And I was really bad. I mean, I couldn't even talk. We're taking you in and we'll isolate you. In as much as we haven't done a test, we'll do the test while you're here, but we'll self-isolate you. And that's what they done. They took the test on the Sunday, and I only got my results on the Thursday, which was the 9th, at around 9:30. And the weight was killing me on a serious note. You know, I wasn't good at all. I was coughing. What really took me was the cough. That was bad. With me, it was the cough, nothing else. No fever, no nothing, cough. To the extent that I'd cough and actually lose my breath. That's how bad I was. So when I got my results, they had told me that when you get your results, if you are positive, we have to let you go. So I asked, but why let me go when you already have said, put me in isolation? Keep me
Wait,
here and treat me.
sorry, who says we have to let you go? It's the hospital that says that they have to let you go if you're positive.
Yes, the hospital say that. They said it's a protocol, government thing. If you tested positive, they have to report to the Ministry of Health.
Okay.
And then they take over.
Oh, as in let you go so that they can pick you up.
Yes, Ministry of Health.
Not that they're letting you go back home.
No.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have gone
right.
home because I wasn't feeling good at all, man.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay.
I then got a call at 10:30 from Dr. Luke Kumalo, Minister of Health, saying I tested positive and I've now become their patient. And he has to pick me up according to what the information is got from Kiwa.
Yeah.
Because I also suffer from hypertension, which is high blood pressure. So that is one of the reasons they had to let me go. And I was picked up that night at 10 p.m. For Stegi. And we drove all the way to Stegi, safely, fortunately, even though it was at night. And yeah, we were taken in at Stegi. There was about 9 of us in the quantum. And they accepted, they received us very well, treated us very well. So yeah, from the 9th, the Thursday, I was at Stegi.
Okay. And now you're back home.
I'm back home.
Okay.
Feeling good, no problem. Spent a week at home after I was discharged, and I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing that story with us. So we'll come back to you definitely. Chloe, we are young. I see that you're very, very young and pretty. And when we get the flu, as young as we are, we get the flu and we always just rush to the pharmacy to get that, to self-medicate, basically, because life needs to go on. Ngeke ngize ngiye esibhedlela sitangibambelela and whatnot, yeah, so I'm in pharmacy just to get the quick meds and self-medicate and go back home. And we, with you and and also with the two gentlemen here, we always say that men have the man flu, so it's easy for them to always die first when they have the normal flu. But with us, my diehards, right? What made you to think and to actually say, Gutsiyati, I might have COVID, let me also go and check this out? Or was it also, as Mr. Tabita said, that it was mandatory when you just went in as well? Or
okay,
what were the key symptoms for you?
With me, at work, they had always said, if you feel anything, report it. And you are sick. Yeah. So on the 6th, ngabane irritation on my throat. Yeah, but just irritation, clearing my throat every now and then. And then I reported that to my boss, my supervisor. And then on the following day, or like when I told him on the 6th, what's again, you know what, Chloe, we can't take chances. If you it's flu, go and stay home until we are sure, is it just flu or it's something else? So I came home, ngahlala ekhaya. Following day, I updated him, I think about 1 episode. Yeah, that very same day, I'm all sweaty. I don't feel fine, Jay. It's getting worse. Yeah, and then I have to go see a doctor ngoba if it's flu, let's just sort the flu out. And then ngazama ke esibhedlela ne. Esibhedlela baba nethi it's nothing, it's just flu. Bangijikisa ngajika. And then I went to a chemist to get meds. And then my cousin also brought me meds. Let's just treat flu, nabo multivitamins and aspirins and all the sorts. And angisumumvu my pills, but I took them anyways. And then there was a story about one of our customers. I work at Bandek Tires. One
Okay.
of our customers, Guti, has passed away Gani recently, Begasem 17, and I was helping him. Yeah, so when they had Guti, I interacted with that customer and Nyalo, I'm complaining Guti, I've got flu in. But on the Saturday, after that headline, but that Saturday, everyone that helped that customer is going to get tested. If Chloe is sick, Shorty, there's more people who are most likely to be sick. So on the Saturday, on the week, or Saturday, I'm sorry, 11, we went to test at Babane Clinic. When we tested there, we were told we will receive our results on Tuesday. There were about 5 of us. Tuesday came, about 3, they received their results. And then when we tested on the Saturday, the guy Loang tester, Uti, Chloe, if anything happens, which doctor should we give your results to? Like if there's any of your low positive, which doctor should we give the results to? So I'm get their name. And then Tuesday came, I never got a call. Like the others, about 3 received my results. And then 2 of us are told, and I was hoping and praying it's negative. And then when Thursday came, a doctor called us from Babane Clinic. Okay, Chloe, we've just received your results, and yes, you are. Like when she called, I knew it's definitely positive. Like ngabe kube easy, why put there even shorting just something being correct. And then Magang Shaela, she spoke to me one day, okay, you are positive, and then she said, to transfer my case to 977, and then they will attend to me, and then a doctor will come see me Ekaya to see my situation with how bad I was, because after the results, after taking the test, and bad, bad kakhulu. And then Madam Bati, the Thursday, around Boma 4-5-ish, a doctor came, watong check how I was. Magafika wakanza guti, my situation was bad, like one jova, and then wakhala breathing yami ukuthi the way I'm breathing, it shows ukuthi I'm struggling, I need to go. There's no, because bese yoma rumors, hey bambayengana guys, bese rumor ukuthi yeah.
I think for me, I think that's also what we will dive into, because I want to get your side of the story with regards to Stegi, because we've had a lot of stories, some from people that we assume have been there, some from people that have not been there. So I think I want to dive into that one later, just a bit later, from the both of you that have been to Stegi, and I'll also get to Mr. Tabete on with regards to him and self-isolating, and also being a mavuso. Would say, what was the experience like? Because we want to get that information, because there's a lot of discrimination that's going around, and there's a lot of false information that's circulating with regards to how what's happening at Stegi, what's happening at mavuso, and basically what's just happening with once you have the virus on its own. Thank you, Zandi, for joining us again. Sorry about that, losing you. Just to come back to you, as I've mentioned right now, that there's a lot of discrimination when it comes around to the virus itself. With somebody like yourself that is then said positive, I know that you've also received a lot of stigma and discrimination on your end. How do you deal with this one now when it comes to coronavirus? Because we don't have the correct information. Instead of getting the correct information, there's a lot of false information that's going around on social media that's being perpetuated by a lot of different people, and we rarely get the right information because of the internet and the false information. But now, how do you deal with this current stigma that goes with the virus? Because Mr. Tabete, I think you mentioned something with regards to you didn't want to see an ambulance at Oglanza Ngako. I think also that is also, ambulance, and batawuthini bomakhelwane, sengiyagula vele. And also a lot of times when these numbers are being said, they really take out the faces of the people that are positive, because of the fact that they know as a society, what are we going to do to those people? So Zand, I know that I've dragged, but basically just mine is, how do you deal with the stigma?
So just to bring everyone up to speed, I have experienced double stigma, and why I'm saying, because I am openly living with HIV, and I've just taken upon myself to raise awareness, promote disclosure, and just create the conversation and normalize the conversation around living with HIV. So now you can imagine being struck by another pandemic or another virus that is meant to affect young people, all of us, not even young people, people as a whole worldwide. The stigma tackling there is, I approached it the same way I dealt with the HIV stigma. And in a sense that I put the name to someone who is living with corona or COVID-19, because too many times I remember someone said to me, I tested positive, please don't tell people. And I understood why and what they were protecting of themselves, because it's associated with carelessness. Same way HIV was associated with infidelity and so on and so forth. So how I went about it is I continue. It was more of a continuation for me. It was just a different page in the same book of dealing with something that is so stigmatized and everyone has an opinion about this issue. And it wasn't easy, of course, because yes, I know what HIV is. I know how to control HIV. I have been for the past 10 years. But here comes this new pandemic. Now, I all of a sudden have to learn the ins and outs of this new virus that is attacking my immune system and myself as a whole. And yes, there was the self stigma at first, where you do not want to voice it out. But I think I just decided that it was of no use to bottle and cage up something that was affecting everybody. If anything, it really helped so many come out the same way HIV to speak positively.
Thank you very much for sharing your stories, Andy. And thank you very much for continuing to live positively and encouraging us to always share our story. With regards to Mavuso, Mr. Tabete, you went to a Mavuso, and then from a Mavuso, you said you want to go back home to self-isolate, if I'm not mistaken. When you get to Mavuso, how is the treatment? Are you getting, good experience? What was your experience with regards to the treatment day itself? Are the people there able to assist you? Do they have the right equipment, to your best knowledge, to assist you?
I never got to Mavuso.
Okay.
I had intended to go to Mavuso because I said I do not want ambulances. I'd rather drive myself there. But then on second thoughts, when they called me and gave me all the details to drive myself to Mavuso, I then highlighted, because I'd already told my mom, and everyone at home was saying, hey, don't go to Mavuso. If anything, we want you to die here at home, not anywhere else. So you are not going anywhere. Let them come here. Let them assess you. Let them see the situation here. We have numerous wards. In fact, I can even bring other patients here if they want to, but they are not taking you anywhere. So I never got to Mavuso.
So they could bring other patients to your home.
No, that's just on a lighter note.
Okay, but also with that, sir, what was the experience like in terms of the treatment, in terms of them checking up on you, following up, making sure that you're okay, making sure that you get the right medication, making sure that when they treat you, they also have the right gear to treat you?
I really am not too sure whether to say mine was a special case, because truly the treatment I received was quite special. From the moment I received my results, I do not know how many doctors from the Ministry of Health called me. How they even got my number, I do not know. But they were calling me and checking up on me. Are you okay? Have these guys come up? Have these guys come to check you? Because, like I say, I got the results on Tuesday, and they were supposed to be checking me on Wednesday. So when I updated one of the callers on Wednesday that they had not called, he was fuming and he said, "I'll get back to you. I'm calling them straight away." I don't know. Maybe mine was special, but I want to believe that all of the survivors
Everyone
did
gets
get
the same treatment.
that treatment. Yeah, but eventually they did come on the test day, fully geared in their protective clothing. Attended to me well, explained stuff to me very well, then gave me the lowdown on how to self-isolate. Obviously, after they satisfied themselves that I was not in a very bad situation to warrant me to go to Mavuso or Sitegi. And obviously, they had then seen my room that I had already prepared and self-isolated myself in.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Zandile, you mentioned something earlier in your response there, in terms of the fact that people assume that when you get the virus it's because you were careless. What's one lockdown? You guys decided to hit the streets and go and party, and you just did not, you were just out there basically. Chloe, I heard how you basically got yours. Mr. Rose, do you know your context? Do you know how you got, the virus, and what was the procedure in terms of your contact? Are they okay? Did they get the treatment as well?
Okay, there's no one I can pinpoint or anything. Really, because I'm someone, where I work, I go around for spares. So I interact with a lot of people. I am always at the supermarkets getting something for the house.
Okay.
So it's very difficult to say where I got it. And I don't want to crack my head to think where I got it. Bottom line, I got it.
Yeah. Zandi, what about you? Were you guys washing your hands before COVID? Let us start there.
Right. Everything.
Which is probably one, we were not sanitizing as much as we have been in the past.
Yeah.
We were washing our hands. I will admit, I am guilty. I am guilty because I was careless. The weekend before I actually got tested, I was at a rendezvous somewhere amongst people. And I think what scared me was on the Monday when I felt the change and I felt like I was coming down with a cold that was very different from the colds that I've had in the past. Excuse me. And in going into depth with that and making 1 or 2 phone calls, I found that another person who was amongst over that weekend
amongst this PT in the mix
for her life. And that's when I was like, okay, no, actually. So I actually took myself to Lancet. I did not go to a public hospital for reasons of fearing that if I am not infected and it's just a cold, like everyone insisted, then I might then contract it if I expose myself, because it's a health facility and so on and so forth. So I got tested at Lancet. But yes, I'm guilty as charged. I brought it upon myself. And
please give us the correct amount. How much is it to test at Lancet?
At Lancet, test was 850 rand.
850 rand. That is how much it cost to test.
That's how much it cost. And before that, it actually was reduced from 1,200 to 850 rand. And thereafter, I took myself into self-isolation and did not use the government a government accommodation that was provided for people who were suspected to be COVID-19 infected, or the ones who are already infected.
Okay. And then you self-isolated at home?
So I self-isolated at a nearby lodge. There's a lodge not so far from the house. And for me, I did this because I have a mother who is over 60. I have a disabled sister, who is in her early 40s. I have nieces and nephews, and there was a helper. So I felt like the self-isolation would work, but I wouldn't be able to control the up and downs in the house. So yeah, safety, I went and isolated myself. And there's a twist. It gets worse. Which did not work because 2 weeks later, my mother and the helper, our sister at home, tested positive as well.
Oh. We hope they're doing well. We hope they're doing well.
Great. Oh, they're great. They're doing
okay.
well.
Well, no, we're happy to hear that, guys. The two, Chloe and Andrew, you guys decide which one will just take us through Sitegi. We want to just get just a summary of your experience down there, guys. What happened? So now you've tested positive. You're on the 977 ambulance, rushing to Sitegi during the night. As Mr. Rose said, you're rushing to Sitegi. What's going through your head? What's the feeling? What are your feelings going through during the whole process and getting there as well again? Because guys, but please, and also the staff doesn't have the correct PPEs or the right or enough PPEs. Please let us know, guys, what's happening at Stegi. Just give us just a brief summary of your experiences at Stegi.
Okay, Lindo, can I start off?
Okay, not a problem.
Can I take you back to Mkiwa first, please, if you don't mind? When they put me in isolation in Mkiwa, the first thing I thought of, if I go, I haven't seen my children.
Yeah.
And they were with me in the, emergency room.
Mm.
And I hadn't brought clothing, as I'd said.
Yeah.
So that was the last I saw of my children. When I got into my room, I still called them. Fortunately, I had my phone. I called them. Yeah. I could see them in the car park because it's upstairs. Guys, yeah. I'm up here, I'm waving, thinking anything will happen. And all they could say is, we can't see you because the glass is tinted. So I took my phone, I put on the flashlight. I said, look, I'm up here. Really scared that I may not see my children again because I'm now in isolation. It didn't help. Fine, what helped was video calling, technology as we know it. It helped a bit, but I got used to the idea. Here we live for Stegi now, 10 p.m. When the guy walked in to say he's come to fetch me, I say, hey guy, at this time, it's not fair. And number two, ngiyagula.
Yeah.
Sengiyangibulawa kule COVID, ndobulawa tinkomo la ndleleni. So that guy comes out, he says to me, hey, asikushiye ke sikulandze kusasa. So I got scared that, hey, I'm making it bad for myself. Let me just get up and go. I said, no, guy, I'm just joking. Let's go. Because I don't know if it's the same guy that will treat me as Stegi or someone else.
Yeah.
Now, here am I already making a mess for me before I even get there.
Yeah.
But we drove, slowly. Two good guys, they were talking. All was well in the combi, no problem. Okay, we were not talking with the patients. Everyone was quiet, I think, thinking of Stegi the way they put it out.
Yeah, the way that it has been portrayed.
Yeah. Anyway, I got to Stegi. As I entered, I was expecting like a hell of a smell because they say people sleep on the floor, it is dirty. I got a fresh smell. I walked, took more steps in, looked right, looked left. I said, come on, man. Is this the hospital they've been talking about? The place was clean. The doctor was there with 3 nurses. They started admitting us. Okay, it took time because There's a lot of paperwork that has to be done. But I didn't mind. Okay, I was getting cold and the cough was like not good for me. So they took us in and I made sure to ask for a room if they had one. You know, I really wanted to be alone because there's certain things you want to do when you're alone. And fortunately for me, there was a room. And you won't believe it, it is the senior medical officer's office. And they put a bed in there. So I was comfortable. Fine, no curtains, but that's not a problem. I want to tell everybody out there that what they say about Stegi is all false. False, according to me. And people mustn't judge me by the color of my skin and think maybe it's because umhlophe bakuphatha kahle. No, because I walked, I peeped in every ward, I saw everything that doctors and the nurses were doing. Those people are well trained. They don't have this fear of COVID-19. They have this mentality. Sifuna kulapha eMaswati, aphile. The problem with us, why you find some people are losing their lives, what condition are you brought to Stegi? You sit at home, you are bad. Eventually, maybe your relatives call 977. 977 picks you up, you are dead. How do you expect them at Stegi bakulapha? We expect miracles. Food, 100%. Meaning I can cry in Kali of my hypertension. Yeah. The first day I had a good meal, I even posted in Kombizaban in some hotel, eating well. It was good food, seriously. But then the doctor took me off the good food and gave me boiled food without salt. So that was a problem for me, yeah.
Because of your underlying condition, obviously.
Yes, but they were only taking care of my health. But a friend of mine sent me goodies, you know, I must share this. A lot of Simba chips and like, I decided to use the Simba chips when I eat the food as salt. And that's how I enjoyed my meal. So yeah.
But you understand that, but now, Andrew, that is also a problem because now do you understand though that if not forbid, should anything have happened to you, it would have been said as yet you sneaked in the wrong food that you were not meant to eat.
Let me tell you, I used to make it clear to my family, anything, I'm at fault. It's not staying. Because even the next day, Mabatati BP, I can't say to, I'd say to the doctor, hey, I was exercising, doctor. Maybe that's the reason. My BP is high. So yeah, I did do a number of things wrong. Even the people who would bring the food and ask them, "Oh, they specialists and but the next day, guaranteed my BP would be high. And that's when I realized that I have to stop doing what I was doing if I want to come right. But trust me, doctors, nurses, cleaners, even the cleaner takes care of you then. When they walk in, they greet you, they ask you, how did you sleep? Are you okay? What do you need? That's a cleaner. I'm not talking about a nurse. So Stegi, on a serious note, on my side, I abayegele kulmagabi. Bantu batokufa bahlele emakhaya for nothing, scared to go to Stegi. Stegi is the place to be at for treatment via COVID-19. Feel free, Stegi is on top of their game, 100%.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Chloe, oh God, I'm cracking up here. Please also just briefly just share with us your experience as well with regards to your journey from being.
I think, Linda, Andrew has actually touched base in everything. His experience is the very same experience I also got. I wouldn't lie and add the manga somewhere. No. They really took good care of us. And even like when it comes to medicating us and checking, just general checking how we were, even doctors would just come walk in and see if we slept well. and but check how are things, how are we feeling, just to have a small conversation about to ask questions about COVID and all the sorts and where to from here. They were just available for us. Angeke ngibone shame. They really took good care of us. I'm also happy with how they treat, and it's not just inkinga sekutabanga lokuthi mina na Andrew le complexion. It's not just that, guys, because mina nje I was sharing a room namake lohlukile kunami, and naye she left her happy. So sonke nje, so ngicabanga ukuthi majority yethu kuba ngilokuthi we were all happy, but bekuba na instances whereby masikhuluma with the staff, they would share ukuthi, you guys are actually appreciating us. Kuna people that get upset ukuthi we waking them up to take their BP, we waking them up for food, like, because if njenga Andrew asho ukuthi bekadla different meals, they'll ask you ukuthi, are you eating something different or udla normal? So vele they'll wake you up to ask that, and some patients would get upset. But other than that, I was happy, Shem. I don't want to lie. It never felt like a hospital until maseng fine. Once maseng pilile, I felt ngathi a prison, because bonabati, yeah, you have to hlala uzube right. Ngifuna kuya ekhaya. Otherwise, I was happy.
Yeah. All right. You mentioned Zandi. Thank you very much, actually, Chloe. Zandi, you mentioned that the test on its own was 850. Now here I am, Eswazi, that I'm not on medical aid, because also the medical aid doesn't cover my 850 for testing unless it comes back positive for some medical aid facilities. Now I go to Stegi, guys. Who's paying for Stegi? Am I paying for Stegi? When I go to Mavuso, who's paying for my medication and my stays at Stegi? Can I pay for it from my own pocket, or my medical aid does it cover it? How did you guys get to pay for that? And also, if you can, please reveal to us, how much was it if you guys paid for that service?
Well, Stegi, nothing. We paid nothing, and we must thank the government for that. They supplied us with everything.
Wow.
Never. And these people make sure you're full. With no doubt. So we paid nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And how long?
Thanks
sorry,
to the government for that. Sorry?
Sorry, please mention, how long again were you there for?
I was 10 days in Stegi. They took my 4 days into account that I spent at Mkiwa. Yeah.
Okay. So you spent 10 days.
In Stegi, 10 days. I could have stayed even longer. I wasn't in a hurry to get home.
I think, Andrew, we've well established the fact that we believe that should you be given the chance right now, you would go back to Stegi
Believe me, I wish to go back and thank everybody there. But unfortunately, I can't, because even when I was leaving, the security guards, think about it, security guards came to check me, bid me.
Oh, it looks like we're losing Andrew there. But Chloe, can you just jump in there in terms of also, you also didn't pay, and how long were you staying there for?
I was there for about 10 days.
Okay.
Yeah, for about 10 days. And yes, I think I would want to go back just for control. And it's a pity we will never recognize their faces just to appreciate them. They were all fully covered. But I honestly do give them a round of applause, Shem. They really took good care of us.
All right. No, thank you very much for sharing your stories. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Good to see you back, Mr. Rose. You are really the comedian of the night tonight. I'm just going to go on Facebook to get a few questions for us from everyone on Facebook. There's a question here. I have a question for Mr. Rose. What did he use to treat the stubborn cough, and what meds concoction have worked for any of the survivors?
Okay, my stubborn cough, I can't even remember, cough mixture from, I took it from Kiwa. And I made sure that they gave me, it wasn't finished. I said my cough mix is finished because I felt every time I took it, it would ease the cough, you know. So I went to the full bottle to Stegi. And when I got there, I made sure to show the doctor that, listen, I carried this for my cough. And he said, no, continue, it's a good one. And I guess it's all I had a drip, antibiotics they were feeding me with, and so forth. So yeah, in Stegi, then they decided I didn't need the drip anymore. And they gave me some tabs, which, okay, I don't have them here with me. And they said what they were doing is flushing me with the tabs because Kiwa basically had done quite a good job on me in as much as I wasn't still okay. So basically Stegi had gone for observation and so forth due to my hypertension.
Okay. No. All right. No, thank you very much. There. With regards to we've had stories with regards to the virus. People that have seen bad, terrible days. Being on the ventilator and whatnot. Did you guys get to experience that, or yours we would say was on the milder side of life? And if you had bad days, how many of those were terrible days for you guys, and how did you get through those terrible days of the virus? Because we hear that your chest closes up, you cannot breathe, you cannot walk, your body, the aches and everything. How many of those would you say, Zandi, were your bad days?
The bad days was the bad. I literally felt all sorts of horrible for one day, and I think that's when I had concluded that okay, this is it. This is probably COVID. And the worst that really frightened me was the struggling to breathe, the shortness of breath. I've had colds. We've all had flu, and shortness of breath has not been any symptom. Has not been a symptom for me at any point. So that for me was what then scared me a bit. And literally, it was one day. And to answer the question from Facebook, my best concoction and my only concoction was garlic, ginger, and lemon, and that was like the drink that I had probably 3 or 4 times a day without fail, which is probably why I was not feeling. Which is probably why I only had one bad day out of the 14 days of self-isolation. Again, I would like to ask everyone who got medical attention is when you got medication, what medication did you get? And I'm asking this because after I got my results from Dr. Maharaj, he said, so where are you? I said, I gave my location. He said, you've tested positive. I said, okay. He said, and I told him I was in self-isolation already because I tested and took myself into self-isolation. And then he said, how are you feeling? I said, I feel so much better because this is now the 4th and I took the test on the 1st. And he said, okay, continue self-isolating. And yeah, be good. Bye.
Okay.
That was the end of the call. He did not at any point say, get Prospen for my cough, which I got. He did not at any point say, use this and that concoction. He did not. Yes, he was a private doctor, but I think, yeah, I'm just trying to get perspective of what medication
one can get. Yeah.
I was self-medicating. I am not one for tablets. I take drugs every day of my life, so I do not like drugs. So I had been self-medicating. What other medications did everyone else go through, if I may ask?
Yes, Mr. Tabitha, the time when you were actually thinking about your obituary, what was your state of mind in terms of, and also how were you feeling? You know, would you say that you also went through your bad days, the worst days in terms of the virus, whereby you felt like, you know what, this just might be it?
In terms of the symptoms, I really can't recall myself having the worst of days. I think the worst of days for me was realizing I had spent a week already without leaving or going out of my gate. I think that was worse for me. I felt like I was in prison in my own home. I could not go out. I could not do anything. I was just locked in that compound, and that really frustrated me because not that I like to go out, but you can't hold me down in one spot forever. And for me, I just want to take it back onto that stigmatization issue.
Yeah.
For me, I can't say it was the worst, but I do make the back page once in a while. But for me this time, I even made the placards on the road.
Oh yes,
People were calling me, saying they are seeing placards on the road saying I'm positive. What's happening? It really that really was the worst, because I had hoped I was going to keep this within my colleagues at work and within few family members. But then the media did what they do best.
They broke the story.
They
might
broke
put
the
it.
story. And funny enough, you know, Lindo, I got that call informing me of my results. I called my boss. I told him of the results, and immediately I dropped my call from the boss. I received a call from the media. Wanting me to confirm, and I said, no, hold on to it. I'm not in a good space. So they held on to the story. Eventually, I called them on the other day. I said, run with it anyway.
Can you just run with it? Stop fooling me, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, they called me again the following day, and I said, hey, do whatever you want to do, guys. Just run with it. Yes, I am positive, but it's not a death sentence for me. It's something that would happen to anyone. So they ran the story. I did not think I would make that back page as it happened, but yeah, I made the back page for a good reason, because so many people have learned so much. People are calling me now that I've recovered, asking me how I managed. And again, on that concussion question, for the first time in my life, I am able to down something with garlic. In fact, I'm the one that asks for it. Put garlic into that concoction, and I'm taking that concoction every single day. Morning, it's the first thing I take. Evening, it's what I'm taking now. It's a daily routine that I'm doing now. And of course, the other traditional stuff that we all grew up drinking, your lemongrass, there's lemongrass, your eucalyptus leaves, that as well have worked for me. Steaming as well. I took going to the sauna lightly. I just go there for the fun of it. But now I do it for a reason, because I know that hot vapor does something in your chest and in your body.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tabitha, very much for actually sharing your story. And as you said, that being at the back page of the whole national newspaper, we hope and believe that your story encouraged a lot of people to go and test, and that is mostly the males and the ones that are in soccer and sports sports and as a whole. Actually, they were able to go and test, because I believe you yourself removed the stigma from it, being the face of it, and then also being a face of a virus is not a good thing to be, but hey, here we are. You were the face for the sports side of it, so thank you very much.
In fact, I was tagged the first sports personality
Yeah. So
In
thank you
fact,
very
that's
much
what I was
for.
saying there.
Siyabonga ukuthi uthwale leyo lolo jobo,
Leo
uthwale
tightly.
lowo- Yes, thank you very much for that. Chloe, just quickly run us through your worst days of the virus.
Yo, mine. Yo, I'm not one. I'm not taking meds, no. So I think I had about 4 or 5 days. Like the waiting period for me was the worst. Ngoba when I got tested, bese ngivele ngigula, and then it got worse as the days progressed. And ngikhumbula at some point I even went to Salvation Army for flu shot. I threw up mangifike ekhaya because I don't even remember it working on me. So I think the 5 days lengamela for my results, because at that time I couldn't take anything. That the only thing lebeng seated was maybe Len is still pain. Ngoba I would take 2 every now and then, 2, and bese kuyathulela. So with the concoctions and bangnigeta too many things that didn't even work. For me, none of them worked. Like except for Maybelline, that helped. Otherwise, ngasitaka esibhedlela when the doctor injected me before I left here and esibhedlela.
Okay. Do you guys feel like you have any like lifelong effects from the virus in terms of, yes, you are now, hopefully all of you are now negative, because we are still waiting for the new results.
Definitely.
Yes. So now hopefully everyone is negative and everyone is getting back to normal under the current circumstances, the new normal that we have.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you have any lifelong effects from it in terms of moving on, solo pain, solo scratch a cough, something that may probably will just then
for me, no whatsoever. Like I said, I think mine was very mild and at the same time. So none that I felt like Andrew has felt, and Chloe the aches and so forth. But I think what I am taking away from it is, again, if something is titled or said to be a danger, listen, adhere to whatever rules and restrictions that are being provided by the government or World Health Organization. I think that's my only takeaway. We learned that lesson with HIV. We're learning it again in a different pandemic. So yeah, I think that's by far the biggest takeaway. Would say as Laleleni and just adhere.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think Zandi said it all.
Mr. Rose.
No, go, Mr. Rose.
Oh, thanks, Zama. What I wanted to say, Lindo, young Dodge, ngoba awukanginikile chance ngichaze mithi ngefe i-oxygen ngayithola noma ngiyithola.
No, I'm sorry.
What I want to say.
No, please, I'd love to hear that story. Unfortunately, while you were running us through that story, but please feel free to just let us know.
I realized that I lost a lot from Zama,
Yeah.
And I was patiently waiting that the line comes back. Fortunately, it came back. Yeah. Is that Etim Kiwa, in as much as Benkanga Nakon, Etim Kiwa, when they used to test me with their gadgets, they would always find my oxygen in the body is low, 87, 86. And they would give me oxygen. But that thing was so uncomfortable, as soon as the nurse would walk out, I would take it off and hang it back on the oxygen. But, as time went, I realized that it's getting worse and worse, and my cough is also getting worse. And then I started actually putting it on myself and getting used to it, and it helped me a lot. Because when I left there, the oxygen level was okay in my body. So yeah, I went on oxygen because I couldn't breathe at all. And they would pick it up, but I would always say, no, I'm fine. But I could feel breathing was a problem, especially when I was coughing. I couldn't even talk on the phone and all that. Okay, after COVID, I'm experiencing body pains, and it's worrying me actually. And fortunately, Chloe has relieved me by saying she's also got the same. I'm talking for her now. Sorry, Chloe. But I'm happy that there's someone like me. So on Saturday, I'm deciding to go to Mkiwa, that they check on me again. I want to make sure I'm perfect. I want them to do X-ray, my lungs, because my lungs were affected. And to just be sure that that's it. Yes, I have an irritation on my throat. They done a swab 3 times with me. I didn't allow them to do it through the nostril. I asked them to do it through the throat.
Yeah.
It was bad, but I still have that irritation. I always have that irritation, but I'm sure with time it will heal.
Okay.
But COVID, I'm through with COVID. I'm happy. And people out there, don't be scared of COVID. It's just a normal sickness. Once you test, go to the hospital. Finish, period. Nothing will happen to you. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you very much.
COVID.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Zama,
Sure.
anything that you want to add?
I think lifelong effects, that thing plays with your mind.
Okay.
I was told I'm COVID free, but each time I have an itch on my throat. Each time I feel a bit cold, it all comes back and say, could this be coming back again? I think that's just the mind playing its tricks on you. And again, I think the trick there is try and maintain and be positive. Just accept, yes, you've had COVID, and you've gone through it, and obviously, like Zandi is saying, adhere to the protocols that are prescribed by the government and the World Health Organization. It's just the mind that plays with you, and the stories we've heard, and people are dying through COVID, but it's not a death sentence. If you listen and follow the reports of those people that have died, there's always underlying sicknesses there. So to me, I really don't think COVID is a death sentence. So it's people should not be afraid of it. We are all going to get it. I think at some point in time, the South African Minister of Health said that you will want to wish to have it, because probably once you have it, you will be amongst the lucky ones to get that vaccine if ever it comes. So I actually say to my friends, you will wish you had it. And just to go back again to that stigmatization issue, I had friends who were stopped from going to work because of my association, because of their association with me. They told them, hey, when we know you are friends with Zama, stay at home, go and test, then come back with your results and tell us you are negative. So it really hit hard on not just myself. I was speaking to my barber earlier this afternoon, who I hadn't seen in 2 weeks. He was saying business was hit hard because clients were worried, when last had I gone there, because I go to him almost on a weekly basis just to touch up. So he as well was hit hard because of my story running on the press. Because everyone heard, and the barber shop, it's where we meet, it's where we chat, it's where we socialize. So he was also hit hard. So I think the media as well needs to play a more positive role with regards to reporting about this. For me, I felt they could have reported it much better, that in a positive way. the way they reported it was the normal sensationalization.
Yeah.
Which that's what I felt bad about. Otherwise, had it been a positive story that so and so has tested positive, however, you see, but it was made to scare people. People were worried about me. The way that story broke.
Yeah, I think we need more of those positive stories to actually be as loud as the negative stories. What you guys have shared about today, your experience there, as I've mentioned earlier, that it's something that is, it's a shocker to most of us, because we thought it was the opposite, you know. So thank you very much for, you know, clearing that out for us and it giving us hope, because we at Simple Speaking, when we have these conversations, we honestly just want to give people hope. You know, there is so much that is going around the whole country, the whole world, and the only thing that we need is just that little glimpse of hope, that just little glimpse of hope. And speaking about hope, Mr. Rose, someone on Facebook says, this is from Tabile Marie Pesci, says, encouraging to hear recovery testimonial from someone with an underlying condition. Thank you, Andrew. Because as Zama has mentioned, a lot of people that had underlying issues were the ones that were said were very much at risk of dying. And so we thank you for that, that as much as Bosolu Mudalo Twaigla Mach Simba Chips, you are still here with us. You are still here with us. We thank you very much. I think let me try and see if we have another question online. But most of them is just thank you very much, Zandi, for sharing your story. Another comment says, this one is from Olani Sego, I think. It must have been scary for you guys, though. He also says, I wish I could take this to the streets here. People here in the UK aren't taking this thing serious. So you guys are really inspiring a lot of people, not only in Swaziland, but you're inspiring someone that is in the UK. So big ups to you and your story. Thank you very much. I think before we go, guys, can I just have some parting words from each one of you? Just a very short, brief, and encouraging words, because we are hitting the 3-digit numbers now in terms of positive cases. And unfortunately, we just lost a young child just the other day due to COVID. Yes, we see the numbers of the people that are recovering, but they're not as much as the ones that are getting the virus. So I don't know if you guys have any parting words for the people and for the government and for the whole sector in its own entirety. I will start with you, Chloe.
Okay, thanks, Linda. Well, there isn't much to say besides besides what's being said every day about being safe, keeping our distance, washing our hands. Because honestly, I can never say namngayitholaphi. And it's just a matter of being more cautious. That's all. Because there are times whereby we unganagi, but that's when something will happen. So I think people need to be very cautious, try and wash their hands as much as they can. And yabona, these thermometers are those things don't work. Those things don't work. People need to be very, it doesn't work. Ngangene Pick and Pay, roadblock, pharmacy, sick, positive. Kude lo wathi positive wena. Those things don't work. So
yeah,
people
I was
need to
gauging
be
myself on that. In case I had
no.
I am Pick and Pay by young test.
Those things don't work. Minanje, on the day ngite Salvation Army, I went to a chemist and I Pick and Pay to get things. Positive. So people need to be very cautious, guys, and try and be safe as all you can be. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Zandi.
I mean, I'm always right on the HIV living side of things. In as much as I would to everyone to be cautious and social distancing and so forth, but also to the HIV positive community, you are more at risk if your immune system is compromised. Now, this is two viruses, like I said earlier. So if your CD4 count is low and your viral load is high, you are in no way trying to escalate the issue by contracting COVID-19. So kindly be more vigilant with yourselves and protect yourselves and wash your hands and protect those around you and your loved ones. That's it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Mr. Rose?
Wow, I think they've said it all. All I can say is stigma and ignorance is lack of knowledge of COVID-19. And I'd like to thank the government of Swaziland for everything they do to make sure that Swaziland nation is covered and taken care of. Thank you very much. And thank you, Lindo, for having us on your show. My parting words is please use a mask next time you host a show. And we'll also use our masks.
By example.
And to the Swazi nation, please take this COVID-19 seriously. It's there, it's lethal. Kazantandla, carry nainjengiphethe, yam, sanitizer, ihlale kicking. And this, believe me, ngafundziswa steg. And truly, I never carried a sanitizer. A cleaner came to the room, unai sanitizer, said, she gave me a 500 ml bottle. And from there, I've never stopped using sanitizer. It's very important to have sanitizer in your pocket. And I wish everybody all the best. Impilo, ubantu bonke Eswatini.
Thank you. Mr. Tabete.
Well. Thanks to my co-survivors. Thanks, Lindo, for hosting us. We do hope that we have made an impact. We have inspired lots and lots of people. Again, I'll reiterate: COVID-19 is not a death sentence. If you haven't got it, trust you me, you are bound to get it at some point in time. And most likely it won't be through carelessness or whatever, so long as you will take care of the necessary safety precautions that have been said. If there is really no need for you to go out, stay at home. It's the safest to do, staying at home and avoiding going out unnecessarily. And again, I want to refer to what wakes me up every day: sport, business. I've dusted up my treadmill. I've dusted up my spinning bicycle, which had gathered dust for quite some time. So exercise. Shugumisani umtimba Maswati, for you to stay healthy. Remember, when no shugumis umtimba, you warm up the body, and that virus does not like anything that is warm. So shugumisani umtimba ni hlala niphilile Maswati, and ni pep. Sanitize, social distance, do all of those stuff that they've said. Yeah. So thank you.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us tonight and for sharing your stories. They've been positive, and I've laughed. And I've laughed, and I've learned a lot, and I've unlearned a few things as well. Thank you very much for that, the insights, taking us through your journeys. And we thank you very much for the fact that you guys are here with us today, and you are alive and you're well and you're back to your families. We thank you very much for that. And as simply speaking, Nathi siyanibonga kakhulu for giving us your time and for sharing us your story with us. To everyone that is watching this at home, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And remember, be cautious, wash your hands, be vigilant, no to stigmatization. Wear your mask. I will wear my mask as soon as we're done with this. Wear your mask. Wash your hands, guys. Wash your hands. And social distancing. Zama, social distancing. And remember, guys, stay at home and stay safe. With that said, we are also, as Simply Speaking, preparing for a Simply Speaking Nation Alive e-Summit, which will go on from the 7th to the 11th of September. We will be releasing that information on our page. Please stay tuned on our socials. That is on our Instagram page, which is speakingsimple.simple, and our YouTube page, which is Simply Speaking with Lindo M and Ph.D, and our Facebook page, where you're currently watching us. From everyone here and everyone at home, it's a good night from me, and thank you very much, guys. Keep well, keep safe, and wash your hands. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.